Hello, Alan.
Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Well, welcome everybody. I'm Alan Peto.
And I'm Sanathavihari Bhikkhu.
We definitely glad you all came today. It's so early in the morning for some of us, so we're glad you're here with us. This is the first of 14 days as it relates to a Buddhist practice during the COVID-19 pandemic. And it's really hard to, kind of start a daily practice. So we're glad you're here with us. What you're going to learn today is going to take you through, not just this COVID-19 pandemic, but also through any type of situations that you would encounter as a Buddhist. So we'll go through 14 days. It's going to kind of mirror to what Bhante has up on the screen right now, the 14-day planner as well. So you can kind of follow along that way if you'd like to. But we're going to go through 14 days. It's going to cover, every day will be part of like the Noble Eightfold Path and different Buddhist teachings. So you're going to get a nice, well-rounded Buddhist practice out of this. So after the 14 days, you can start over again, so you don't have to stop when we stop. You can kind of continue going on and on and on. And starting a daily practice is usually the hardest thing for anybody to do. Any type of habit is, a hard thing to do. So this is going to help you guys out quite a bit. And once again, we're glad you're all here. So kind of like what we're going to do, we're going to go through each day. So today will just be day one. We're going to go through a scriptural reading from the Buddhist canons. Then we'll kind of go through what's going to be the kind of like the focus for today is going to be like the Buddhist teaching, the focus you're going to try to take out into the world. And then we'll kind of finish it up with a short meditation session. So Bhante, do you want to begin?
All right. Just adding some more people.
Okay. So we'll wait for him to come in.
Or Alan, I think you can even do that for me while I.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So as he's letting more people in, so what we're going to start off with on day one, this entire practice is going to be about mindfulness. That when we think about it, when we're mindful, we're actually kind of like walking in the footsteps of the Buddha. We're being a Buddha, we're being a Bodhisattva. Being mindful is very hard for us as human beings. It's really hard. We have so much delusion and preconceptions we have inside our life that it's really hard for us to do that. So being a Buddhist and Buddhist practice is helping us be more mindful so we can be like a Buddha and a Bodhisattva. So day one is going to be about right view. So, and it's going to say, those who view the unreal as real and the real as unreal, reach not up to the real, misled as they are. So a lot of times we're looking, just if we look at the COVID-19 pandemic right now and what's kind of going on, we're looking at a lot of things as, very fearful as certain ways we preconceive it, our preconceptions of it. So the first part of that is going to be something that actually happened in the Buddha's life. When he was a prince, sat under the Bodhi tree, he was actually, tempted before he became the Buddha. He was basically attacked by this entity called Mara. And Mara, an entity, but also this lives inside us as well too. But Mara was trying to prevent the Buddha from becoming awake and becoming a Buddha. Was very fearful of him actually achieving that because he's going to become this Buddha. He's going to teach other people to, now have like wholesome lives, wholesome actions, wholesome views. And so Mara attacked him, but the Buddha was at that point where no matter what Mara threw at him, he was able just to, dismiss it away. And it was super impressive because he became the Buddha right after that. So Mara is kind of like for us this embodiment of like fear, confusion, and delusion in our lives. And as we kind of look at this COVID-19 pandemic, there's definitely a lot of that, even frustration. Here we are going into like another lockdown, another set of quarantines and stuff like that. So when we're thinking about what's going on now, we can look at Mara inside of us. Our mind is very, filled with delusion, is clinging, it doesn't want to do the right thing. Even though we think we're doing the right thing, it doesn't want us to do the right thing. So any type of unskillful actions that we do during this time, we can kind of consider as Mara. It's basically, I hate to use the word enemy, but kind of like it's our enemy. Like we don't want Mara to do that to us, but that's our mind. So there's some stuff we can kind of focus on right now, and it relates to something called the three fires or three poisons inside Buddhism. we have three fires of delusion, greed, and aversion or anger. And so the Buddha had like a great sutta about this as well, as a fire sermon, which I really like. And so basically he said, like, everything's burning, like everything that you're looking at, all these, these views, like what you're seeing, what you're believing, it's all fires through our sense organs, our eyes, our ears, our mouth, etc. So we have to kind of be cognizant of that as we kind of like go out in the world. You go into the, the store, and someone's grabbing their last, I'll use this example, grabbing their last roll of toilet paper. Like, how are we responding to that? It's burning, these poisons, so we have to be very cognizant of what Mara is doing to us, and then how we can kind of respond to that. And a good way to think about that is, have the eyes of a Buddha or a Bodhisattva when you're out there, which can be very, very hard to do. So kind of like what we're going to focus on is just realize, that fear is an illusion. Fear is what we can preconceive it as and view it as. It's fictitious. Yes, we have this human fear that's inside us that protects us and stuff like that. But this fear that we're talking about is what we believe it to be. Impermanence. So impermanence is a key concept inside Buddhism. And it's basically saying that nothing, everything is conditioned, is impermanent. So including myself, the pandemic, the virus, is all impermanent. It's going to, come and go, depending on different causes and conditions, what's favorable to it. So nothing has this independent self, and nothing is permanent. So that's a big concept inside Buddhism. So kind of like when we realize, like, okay, well, nothing's, permanent, that's conditioned. And then we're having Mara, that's kind of, controlling our actions, our views, etc. And that, these three fires, these three poisons are kind of like what, as we're going out in the world, we're seeing all these different things, we're hearing these different things. We have to kind of have these Buddha eyes and Bodhisattva eyes as we're kind of going out there to understand what's happening to us, so we don't react in the wrong way, act in the wrong way, say things in the wrong way, etc. So that's going to be our right view as we kind of go out into this world that we're in right now. So there's a few different things we can kind of use for our practice during this time. One's going to be the 5 remembrances, and we'll talk about this today as well too. We're gonna meditate every day. So meditation's great. What meditation is really not going to be, a lot of times in our world, meditation is looked at as like a health thing. And good, it's healthy to meditate, but the purpose of meditation is to help us be mindful. So you kind of think about it like when you're out there and something stressful or makes you angry or something like that. That meditation practice is what's helping you kind of like center yourself again. Bring you back to where you should be in your mind, and then kind of realize the collective suffering. So everybody's is struggling and suffering in different ways. Some people are doing better than other people. I'll use that example of the toilet paper again. That person could just be consumed by fear right now. They're not even where you're at right now on this daily practice. Like they're just consumed by that, and so Mara is just taking over their mind, and they're reacting that way. So we got to realize a lot of people are reacting in different ways and in different levels, and we have to have that compassion for them. Compassion is really big in Buddhism to counter greed and this anger and everything else, and that's what we're doing here today. So we talked about like the 5 remembrances. It's one of those key things is, oh yeah, we can actually go to that. So that's gonna be on page, where was it? Page 22. Yeah, so there's the 5. I think they're right at the bottom there. One more page. Yep, there we go. So if we go scroll down just a little bit more, keep going. So the 5 remembrances is right there at the bottom. And this is a good one to actually say every day. A lot of Buddhists do this for their daily practice as well. They actually go over the 5 remembrances, which is great because what it does, it reminds you. It's almost like push-ups, if you will. It's reminding you like, okay, this is what I have to really understand. And it sounds simple as we kind of like read it here, but to actually understand it takes time, takes repetition to go, yeah, that's really true. There's a deeper meaning to this. And they are, I am subject to aging. There's no way to avoid aging. I am subject to ill health. There is no way to avoid illness. I am going to die. There is no way to avoid death. Everyone and everything that I love will change, and I will be separated from them. And my only true possessions are my actions, and I cannot escape their consequences. And it sounds very depressing. You know, a lot of times we're looking at that like, well, I don't want to die, I don't want to get sick and stuff like that, but it's the human condition. And for a lot of us, we kind of push that into the back of our brain and let Mara, take control. But when we kind of look at this, right? Yeah, you know what? I am going to get old. I am going to get sick at one point. I want to be healthy. That's important, especially for Buddhists. But I'm going to get sick at one point. I am going to die at one point. Loved ones, are gonna die as well too. But the fifth remembrance is really important. My only true possessions are my actions, and I cannot escape their consequences. I think that's really important, because what you're doing, that is your real possessions. It's not your home, it's not your car, it's not your money, it's not anything else. It's your actions, it's your karma. So those are good to do every single day as well, to actually recite that. And initially, it's going to be very, okay, I'm reciting it, but as you do it more and more and more, and you progress along the Buddhist path, a lot of these become, I'm not sure the right word, but they become deeper to you. They actually have a deeper meaning, and you get to understand them a lot more. So Bhante, do you want to add in anything? Oh, you're muted.
Just bringing it back to the beginning of the first thing that we learned about the Buddhist verses that we shared today. So this is a very famous verse, very powerful verse from the Dhammapada, actually. And the Dhammapada has, hundreds of different verses. And the first chapter is called the Twin Verses. And this within that chapter, you find this this saying: "Those who view the unreal as real and the real as unreal, reach not to the real, misled as they are." So, Buddhism is really based on right view, as Alan was saying. So this really has to do with right view. And instead of trying to escape into a fantasy world where, it's going to be sunshine and rainbows and candy and no one's going to die, eventually that illusion is going to fall apart when someone does die, when you do get sick, when you notice your first wrinkle or gray hair, or your iPhone gets a virus or something. You can't live in that fantasy world forever. And if you don't train yourself for when the inevitable does happen, it's going to completely destroy you. You're not going to be prepared. You're going to be like a child, when they tell them that there's no Santa Claus, when you have to face reality. So the best thing that we can do is to, try to be at harmony with reality. Don't go against it. We have to understand that everything changes. And changing is a good thing, because if impermanence wasn't there, that means we'd always be stuck in the bad state, right? And although we kind of suffering in Buddhism, we talk a lot about suffering. Impermanence also gives us the opportunity to reach nirvana, because we can change it, right? There's a change. There's transience. So the transience and the hopeful side of it is that there is nirvana. There is the cessation of suffering. There is ultimate happiness. So it's really up to us how we want to see the world, and the best way to see it is according to reality. So we don't want to also go the other way and fall into a completely pessimistic worldview where nothing matters, there's only suffering, and whatever, because that's also not true. All of us here have experienced happy times, great times. We've had positive experiences too. But the importance of focusing on suffering is that suffering is the problem, right? So you don't go to the doctor when everything's fine. You go when you have a problem, and you want that problem fixed. So in a similar way, we're addressing the problem, because the problem can be removed. That's the beautiful thing about Buddhism, that is saying the problem can be removed, not only in this life, but in this very moment. So you don't have to wait for you to die to go to a Buddhist heaven. Uh, you can get your cake and eat it today if you like, right? So that's the beautiful thing. And that that only happens because what the Buddha said at the end when Alan was sharing about karma. The only refuge that we have are our actions. And there's three types of actions: our thinking, what we keep entertaining in our mind, our speech, and our bodily actions. So nirvana is not in another planet, in another dimension in the future. Every moment that we live a skillful life, we are actually working towards the ultimate goal of permanent nirvana, but in some way we're kind of getting a preview of it. We're tasting it. So it's not some far off goal. So every moment that we practice is a moment of non-suffering. And if you're not suffering, then you've reached the goal, because that's the goal of Buddhism, not to suffer. So I just kind of wanted to, share the ultimate goal of nirvana, but also the short-term goals, because it's very important. Nirvana or Buddhist goals, enlightenment, awakening can seem, way beyond, like, I'm never going to do it. I'm just a person at home and I work 9 to 5 and I'm too busy. But no, uh, every moment that you don't give in to greed, hatred, anger, and delusion, that's the prize right there. The good action itself, the good thought, the good speech, the good physical bodily behavior, all of those are the reward. In the moment that you do it, you're rewarding yourself because you're not suffering in that moment. So I just kind of wanted to, show you the variety of the path and like the different degrees to which you can get results. So Alan, what did we have planned next?
So next, we're going to follow up with a short meditation session, and then we'll kind of end it. After that, we'll have a little short talk after that, and then to get you out into the world. But we'll go do a meditation session next.
All right, everyone. So in the planner, you'll also see a short instructions for the meditations. So I leave it up to you to follow it that way or continue with your own practice, however you like. So I'm just going to give some very brief instructions, and you can take what you like, or you can just sit there. Um, so I want to share with you this mindfulness practice of breathing meditation, anapanasati. So for today, first step, just be aware that you're breathing, right? Just know that you're breathing. Sit however you like, eyes closed, eyes open, whatever you want, and just be aware that you're breathing. You can tell yourself, I'm aware that I'm breathing. You can focus on the inhalation or the exhalation. You can focus on the feeling, right? Or you can just tell yourself, breathing, breathing, whatever you like. You can count your breath. I'll leave it up to you. But just notice every time your mind starts drifting, you get caught up in another thought. Maybe, you have some bodily pain or you feel cold. Just bring your mind back to the breath, however you like, okay? So we're just gonna do a short little 5-minute meditation, remembering ourselves that, hey, I'm alive, I'm breathing. So let's go ahead and practice this short breathing meditation for 5 minutes. So now that your mind is calm, body is relaxed, you can bless yourself with your calm mind. You can bless yourself with acknowledging that you took the time this morning to create a right intention, participating in the cultivation of the mind, working together with others to overcome your fear. These are all meritorious actions. These are all harmonious actions. So let the power of your good actions, your good intentions carry you throughout the day, and let them be your refuge when you find obstacles throughout the rest of the day. So now you can come out of your meditation. Alan, is there anything else you wanted to share?
Yeah, for those of you who are new to meditation, sometimes it feels like all we're doing is just, focusing on the breath and stuff like that. But what we're actually doing is we're training, it's exercise. We're training the mind for these situations that we're going to encounter. And if you think about it, the Buddha meditated and practiced his entire life, even after he was awakened and enlightened. So we're doing what the Buddha did. And then all of us here together, we are, a community where we're together in this. So not everybody can be online this early in the morning and they'll watch this video, but we're all together. We're all, admirable friends, Dharma friends. We're together in this world as we progress. So this is really important what we're doing. We're training the mind. We're training for these situations as we go out there. And just like we've been talking about, like what's right view for today, when we encounter these situations, maybe it gets very stressful. Mara's, popping up. We can meditate in that moment. We can, focus on the breath as those situations come to center ourselves. Calm the mind as the situations come into being. And with that, I don't have anything else. I want to thank everybody for coming today. And we hope to see you all here tomorrow as well.
Yes, so I would also like to thank everyone for coming here today, and I hope to see everyone tomorrow. May you be well, happy, comfortable, and peaceful. Bye-bye.
Bye.